वृंद की
जय।
ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की
जय।
सामवेद भक्त वृंद की
जय।
श्रीला प्रभुपाद की
जय।
पंचा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यो च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो। So dear devotees, thank you for joining. We are reading now a very important verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 5, Text 10. Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
So, Nayat Vachaschitra Hariryaso. Nayat Vachaschitra Hariryaso. Jagat Pavitra Pragranita Karichit. Jagat Pavitra Pragranita Karichit. Tadvāyasaṁ tīrtham usanti manasa.
Vāyasaṁ
Tīrtham usanti manasa. Nayatra hamsa niramanti usikshaya. Nayatra hamsa niramanti usikshaya. Na not yat that Vachaha vocabulary Chitrapadam decorative Hare of the Lord Yasaha glories Jagat universe Pavitram sanctified Pragrinita describe Karichit hardly that vāyasaṁ cross tīrtham place of pilgrimage usante think manasaha saintly persons not yatra where hamsa all perfect beings niramanti take pleasure usikshaya those who reside in the transcendental abode. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
Those words which do not describe the glories of the Lord, who alone can sanctify the atmosphere of the whole universe, are considered by saintly persons to be like unto a place of pilgrimage or crows. Since the all perfect persons are inhabitants of the transcendental abode, they do not derive any pleasure there. Everybody can repeat those words which do not describe
the
glories of the Lord, who alone can sanctify the atmosphere of the whole universe, are considered by saintly persons to be like unto a place of pilgrimage or crows. Since the all perfect persons are inhabitants of the transcendental abode, they do not derive any pleasure there. Crows and swans are not birds of the same feather because of the different mental attitudes. The fruitive workers or passionate men are compared to the crows, whereas the all perfect saintly persons are compared to the swans. The crows take pleasure in a place where garbage is thrown out, just as the passionate fruitive workers take pleasure in wine and omen, and places for gross sense pleasure. The swans do not take pleasure in the places where crows are assembled for the conference and meetings. They are instead seen in the atmosphere of natural scenic beauty, where there are transparent reservoirs of water, nicely decorated with the stems of lotus flower in variegated colors of national beauty. That is the difference between the two classes of bird. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaurvani Pacharine Nirvishesa Sunyavadi Pashyata Desatarine Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Vancha Kalpatarvesya Kripa Sindhuvevacha Patitanang Pavanabhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha. So, dear devotees, dear devotees, dear devotees, this verse is the essence of Bhagavat Dharma. That is a famous verse by Kulshekhara that says, Krishna Advaiva Vishatu me manasa rajahamsam prana prayana samaye kapha vaat pittu kantavarodana vidau smaranam kutaste. Krishna todiya pada pankaja panjarantam adaiva vishuto me manasa rajahamsam prana prayana samaye kapha vaat pittu kantavarodana vidau smaranam kutaste. King Kulshekhara is praying, Oh Krishna, oh Krishna, now I am young, I am healthy, my mind is constantly relishing the nectar of your lotus feet. I am fully Krishna conscious now, and hence make some arrangement and take me back to your lotus feet. Don't make me wait until my old age. Kapha, vata and pitta will make my life miserable. Miserable. And it is a fact that life becomes miserable when we become old. Like, I am old person, I'm a diabetic, and there are so many complications. And day after day, I would be hearing one organ becomes kaput, another becomes kaput. Finally, memory is gone. Then you become hard of hearing. These are truth. These are truth. That is why we must invest in Krishna consciousness. We should surrender ourselves completely to Krishna and let Krishna decide how I give up my body, what I am going to do in the next birth, whether Krishna will take me to his lotus feet or not, all up to Krishna. We should not worry, except performing devotional service 24 hours a day. Prabhupada, until now, I didn't read the entire purport. I am going to read, but the first paragraph, it said Prabhupada is saying that crows and the swans, they don't stay together. Crows goes to the place of garbage, dirt, and that is fruitive workers and passionate people. So this the garbage and just like crows enjoy garbage, we enjoy the association of woman, wine, association of sense gratification, So we get all those associations. That is, and as long as we have that association or a tendency to have that association, we are finished. Whereas swans, they always remain in a clean place. They enjoy the root of the lotus. They eat the root of the lotus. So, Paramahamsas are those who stay away from ignorance and always align with knowledge of Shastra. So that is Paramahamsa. Just like swan can separate milk from the water, similarly Paramahamsa can see what is divinity and what is ignorance. Because there is two things only. One is divine or knowledge, the other is maya or ignorance. Nature has influenced different species of life with different mentalities. It is not possible to bring them up into the same rank and file. Similarly, there are different kinds of literature for different types of men of different mentality. Mostly the market literatures which attract men of crows category are literature contained. उनको बोलो कि I will call them after half an hour. Mostly the market literature which attract men of crows category are literature containing refused remnants of sensuous topics. They are generally known as mundane talks in relation with the gross body and subtle mind. They are full of subject matter described in decorative language, full of mundane similes, and metaphorical arrangement. Yet with all that, they do not glorify the Lord. Such poetry and prose on any subject matter is considered decoration of a dead body. Spiritually advanced men who are compared to the swans do not take pleasure in such dead literature, which are sources of pleasure for men who are spiritually dead. These literature in the mode of passion and ignorance are distributed under the different levels, but they can hardly help the spiritual urge of human being. Thus the swan-like spiritually advanced men have nothing to do with them. So spiritually advanced men are called also manasa because they always keep up the standard of transcendental voluntary service to the Lord on the spiritual plane. This completely forbids fruitive activities for gross bodily sense gratification, sense satisfaction, or subtle speculation of material egoistic mind. So Prabhupada is pretty heavy. The libraries have millions of books. Hardly one of them is from Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita. People are publishing so many mundane literature, and it is not helping anyone. And nobody is making an attempt how to publish transcendental literature. ISKCON is in the forefront. We are publishing the books written by Srila Prabhupada, and ISKCON devotees are trying their humble best to distribute this literature. I was surprised when we were in St. Petersburg. We had booked a hotel, and in the hotel I found Srila Prabhupada book. It's not a hotel. It's actually what is that? There is some company, Airbnb. That means these are all apartments, and one can rent them. Normally, they're cheaper than the hotels. But in that, I found the book of Prabhupada. I was in Leh Meridian also in Delhi. I organized a conference there. There also Prabhupada Bhagavad Gita was there. Otherwise, whenever I have gone to any hotel, only Bible you would find. No Indian literature you will ever find in these hotels. But in America and Europe, compulsorily you will find a Bible. Compulsorily. I was in a motel, not in a hotel. When I first visited America in 1997, after meeting my Guru Maharaj, Prabhupada Maharaj, I went to my conference place. So I landed in San Francisco, where I stayed in one of my friend's house. And then he booked a motel for me near the conference site, where he's in Monterey. Conference site was Monterey. So obviously, I stayed in a motel, and that motel means it's just a few rooms. One person is running that. So that is motel. And yeah, I think they were charging $50 per day. And in that motel also we had a Bhagavad Gita. But unfortunately, most of our literature nowadays, they glorify or they describe mundanity. One thing is to understand the basic building block of the universe. The other is to inquire into mundanity, in the sense how to enjoy more and more. The whole human society is geared for sense gratification. Science and technology are very conveniently used to enhance the enjoyment capacity of people, to create facilities for sense gratification. And this is all why you are not bringing those white flowers. Eh? You brought it? Okay. Thank you. In this context, the Bhagavatam incident of Ayati is very nice. Ayati was a king, very famous king in Moon dynasty. He had 4 sons. Eldest of his sons is known as Yadu, and youngest is Puru. Once he was hunting in the jungle and found somebody is howling, crying, "Save me, save me, save me." And then the king searched around and found the source of that sound is a well. He looked into the well and saw a girl has fallen into the well. So the king made some arrangement, holding the hand of the girl, lifted her and saved her. Her name is Devayani. Devayani is the daughter of Sukracharya, and her friend is Sarmishta. Sarmishta is the daughter of a minister. They are good friends, but friends also have envy for each other. Because as long as we don't love Krishna, we will have enmity and envy for each other. So they picked up a quarrel by which Sarmishta threw Devayani into the well and fled from the place. Now when king saved this girl Devayani, Devayani said, "Because you have saved, so please you accept me as your wife." And he accepted Devayani as his wife. But Sarmishta, the old friend of Devayani, at some point of time wanted to be united with the king, and king agreed. Devayani came to know, and Devayani remembered how cruelly Sarmishta has thrown her inside the well. So naturally, she became very angry and fled to Maike, to his father's place, Sukracharya, and started crying. "My husband had ditched me. You are a Brahmin. I want badla, revenge." You see how material world is. Nobody is here, either your enemy or friend. The moment you consider somebody's enemy as somebody's friend, means somebody's enemy. Try to understand this. The best way to deal with this world is to see everybody is Krishna's servant, but none of them are my friend or enemy. That is the best way to lead a very happy life and peaceful life. So Devayani, when father saw the crying of Devayani, immediately he cursed Yati to become invalid. By the time Yati has reached the house of Devayani seeking forgiveness, he has already been cursed. So seeing the piteous crying of her husband, Devayani's heart got melted. But then by then everything has been spoiled. He has been cursed by Sukracharya for a lifelong invalidity. So what is to be done now? Devayani pleaded with his father, "My husband is so innocent. Just 10 minutes before, her husband was the number one enemy of her. In 10 minutes, her husband became the nicest person on earth." This is our mind. At any point of time, we can consider anyone as our friend and anyone as our enemy. So Sukracharya said, your husband can become all right only if he is able to exchange his invalidity with somebody's youth. Because I am a Brahmana, my curse cannot be countered. We saw that how Ambarisha Maharaj countered the curse of Durvasa. So if you are a devotee, you don't have to worry. But Yati was not a devotee. He was a very powerful king. He was a very powerful king, righteous, religious, but not a devotee. So now, both Devyani and Yati came back to the palace, and then shamelessly, Yati went to his sons, pleading, please exchange your please exchange your youth with my invalidity. And when Yadu saw his father has become very invalid, looks like very old, he flatly refused. So also second son, third sons. And finally the youngest son, Puru, when he was approached by the father, Puru said, this body is yours, not mine. You have full right. Use it as you want. And Yati took that body, exchanged the youth of his youngest son, and the youngest son became invalid. And then for thousands of years, Yati enjoyed sex with Devyani. One day, suddenly, he got awakened and narrated to his wife an allegory. And that allegory is the sad journey of theirs. Okay. So basically, he was telling in that allegory that how he, by taking someone's property, tried to enjoy sex or sense gratification for so many years. And then Krishna consciousness got awakened within his heart and advised her wife to pursue the path of Krishna consciousness. Although he was young, he went back to his son Puru, said, I have done greatest injustice to you. Please take back your youth and give me invalidity. And that way Puru became again young and his father invalid. But Yati did one thing. He didn't Yati appointed his son as the king, next king, and taking the invalid body, he went to the jungle for practicing Krishna consciousness. So this event from Srimad Bhagavatam, I told a very short way. Elaborate explanations is there in Srimad Bhagavatam. Maybe sometime if I get a chance, I will speak to you, just speak about that incident. But now, be satisfied with this event. That Puru was rewarded by his father with the kingdom because he exchanged his youth with the invalidity of his father. Normally nobody would do, no father would do it, but this has happened. So it is not that it will not happen in the future. It can happen in the future. But what is interesting in this story is that ultimately Krishna consciousness must rule supremely. Puru exchanged his youth with his father out of material consumption. Material consumption, yes, my father is giver of my body. Ultimately material, it is very highly elevated platform. Nobody can do that, but Puru did it. But now what happened, you see, to Yadu? Yadu was the eldest son, but he didn't get his kingdom. So naturally, he turned towards Krishna consciousness and become such an ardent devotee of Krishna that Krishna and his entourage, they all took birth in the dynasty of Yadu. That's another story. So although Puru was rewarded with the kingdom, Yadu was rewarded with Krishna consciousness. So what is good, what is bad? So-called material things, never good, never good. We'll continue the reading. Social literary men, scientists, and mundane poets, theoretical philosophers, and politicians who are completely absorbed in material advancement of sense pleasure are all dolls of material energy. They take pleasure in a place where rejected subject matters are thrown. According to Swami Sridhar, this is the pleasure of prostitute hunters. Wow! Pleasure of prostitute hunters. But literatures which describe the glories of the Lord are enjoyed by the Paramahamsas who have grasped the essence of human activities. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We must constantly read, hear, memorize, remember Krishna's activities constantly. Tasmat Bharata Sarvatma Bhagavan Ishvara Hari Srotabhya Kirtitavyasya Smartabhya Ichitavayam. If any one of us are sincere to become freed from fear, because here in this world, every step there is fear. Everybody's actions are motivated by fear, my dear friend. I can give you guarantee, any actions you are performing, they are all motivated by fear. Fear. And when you are not motivated by fearlessness, your life will become hell. Every action that are motivated by fear will lead to another fear, and another fear, and another fear. And like that, our life will become absolutely hell. Hell. So I request all of you, please do not act upon fear. Fear would destroy us. Fear is a symptom of ignorance. And hence, devotees, Please remember, Narayana para sarve, na kutasana vibhyati, sarga apavarga, narakesu apitulyartha darsinaha. So, very important message in this verse, that anybody who is a devotee of Krishna, Narayana para sarve, na kutasana vibhyati, you can never frighten them. You send them to heavenly planet, you serve them to Brahmajyoti, you serve them to, send them to send them to hell, wherever you send them. Once Srila Prabhupada was asked in London, where is hell? And Prabhupada kiddingly said, London is hell. So Prabhupada in London, and London interviewer is saying, where is hell? And Prabhupada is saying, this is hellish place. And immediately Prabhupada changed his mood and said, no, but you have established a great civilization in London. So, what Prabhupada was telling. But actually, all Western cities are like hell, to be frank with you. Because not only Western cities, Indian cities are also no less of a hell. Only in India, very few pockets of villages where there is some sanity. Otherwise, it's all. So, let's not waste our time. Let's not act from the platform of fear. Let's not be attracted to the literature that is meant for gurus. Let us only read the literature that is meant for Paramahansas. Hare Krishna. So we stop here. I will take up some questions. In the meantime, you can write in the chat window your question, and what I will do is I'll take 2 minutes break, and you can play also the cassette. would be able to renounce? That's a very good question, because Yati was spiritual. He was following Vedic culture. If you follow Vedic culture, at some point of time, you get inspiration. So it is possible, when he enjoyed so much with his wife, can you imagine a father exchanging? But he was honest actually. He told his father-in-law, "Oh, father-in-law, I have not freed from my sex desire, and you have made me invalid. How can I become Krishna conscious?" So he knew the objective or goal of life is to become Krishna conscious. But then he was suffering from his passion. And because of his honesty, his father-in-law said, "Okay, if you can exchange your invalidity with someone's youth, then you can satisfy your desire." And that's exactly happened. After some time, for years and years, he enjoyed sex with his wife, and then finally he says, "Enough, this is nonsense." And then he became Krishna conscious. So, next. क्या कर रहा है तू? Chiranjit, if a person gets diksha from some guru and gets some mantra from that guru, can that person chant Hare Krishna? Everybody must chant Hare Krishna. Any guru who is not engaging you in chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra is not a guru. Guru, Harer Nama, Eva Kevalam. Kalau Nastyava, Gatiranyatha. Another Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's very famous verse. Kiva Nyasi, Kiva Sudra, Kiva Vipra, Kiva Nyasi, Sudra Kena Noy. Jai Krishna Tattva Veta, Sai Guru Hoy. The Guru is a person who knows Krishna. Krishna Tattva, unless Guru knows Krishna Tattva, he is not a Guru. Okay? So there are in our society, many people, they take initiation from X, Y, Z without understanding what is the purport of human life and like that. Because there are so many people are sitting there to become Guru. One doesn't become Guru to become a Guru. One becomes Guru to connect someone to Krishna. Right? Amar agya hai Guru hana तारे देश जारे देखे तारे कहे कृष्ण उपदेशा हमारा आज्ञा गुरु हया तारे देश Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saying, by my order you become a guru and deliver everyone. How? Jare dekhe tare kahe Krishna upadesh. Whomever you see, you must speak to him about Krishna. That's it. That is Guru. Next. क्या रे इतनी डिले क्या है? Nikita, when one leaves the spiritual world, is it always the case that spirit soul takes the position of Brahma? Not necessarily. Not necessarily. But there are some references that one can easily figure out that literally each one of us once upon a time had taken a position of Brahma. That reference is there. We have to find out. Can you find out that reference? A jiva, every jiva has taken a position of Brahma. Not now. You find out later and reference. So we'll share that reference in the evening. Okay. Make it a nice question. Sridevi Mahapatra, Hare Krishna Swamiji, Puru obeyed his father. We are told parents are living gods, so why he was not blessed by God? No, parents are not living God. When parents don't know Krishna, how they can become living God? Mata na sisyat, guru na sisyat, pitta na sisyat. To Prachetas, Narad is saying, one should not become a leader, one should not become a teacher, one should not become a father or mother if it doesn't have ability to deliver his children into Krishna consciousness. If we cannot make our children Krishna conscious, we are not father, mother or guru. If you are able to make, then we can say we are like God. We can never be God. We are tiny entities. But if you are able to give Krishna consciousness, such people can be treated at the level of God. Doesn't mean they are God. No. We are not God. God is so extraordinarily, inconceivably infinite. How a parent, you have already a son. Did you ever think that you have created your son? Your son having 120 trillion cells. Each cell is so intriguing that nobody is even able to understand what a cell is. No. We are simply an instrument for bringing or giving someone a human body. That's all we can say. So, but yes, father and mother can be respected as God, provided they give Krishna consciousness to their children. Next. Chiranjit, but this is the proof of Puru. Although Puru was blessed by his father, Puru didn't become Krishna conscious. It is Yadu who became Krishna conscious. Oh, Yadu was a very powerful Krishna conscious personality. There is a lot of things you will see about Yadu. You will find in description in Srimad Bhagavatam. Oh, he was, once Yadu will meet 24 gurus. And this, a guru who tell him, I have 24, Yadu will meet a person, Avaduta, and who would explain to him how he has a guru, he has 24 gurus, and how he learns from everyone different thing. So in that, fish is one of his guru, bees are one of his guru. So like that, there are 24 different gurus, and everyone is teaching him sun, earth, like that. So next. बहुत क्वेश्चन आ जाए. Can you tell the name of son of Nabhaga? वही तो बार बार क्यों पूछ रहा है? ये Nabhaga, Nabhaga. I don't know why he's asking this question again and again. Next. Jitendra Soni. This is my yesterday's question. Can you please tell about the nature? Nature is based on your guna. Okay. Suppose you are mostly ignorant, then you should accept a work that requires heavy physical work. Then only you will come out of ignorance. If you are an ignorant person, if you go to a profession like teaching, then you will spoil the children. Okay? A person who is in mode of goodness, if he goes to the for work on the road, have you seen the when road construction goes on, sun is beating. And you must see, but those people, they can do the road work because they are in mode of ignorance. So there are different modes, and based on that, people must accept voluntarily a, a, a job. Because see, anywhere you have four things: intellectual job, administrative job, service provider job, business. Very rarely you will find a person who can do business, also administration. Particularly when I am coming in contact with anybody, I am a teacher, obviously I will not come in contact with people who will be in the nature of administrative job or business job. Other two categories I will come. Service provider, all IITians are service provider. They go and serve Microsoft or TCS, or teachers, Brahminical teacher who can teach Krishna consciousness. So you, Jitendra Soni, you studied in IIT Kanpur, and for last 2-3 years you are practicing Krishna consciousness, and hence you must teach Krishna consciousness to others. I have given you direct answer now, so don't speculate. Next. Hey Kumar Nayak. Sir, those who are attached to Western cities, they may feel that this is what hell looks like. Then they are okay to go to hell. No. Those who like Western cities, they don't think that that is hell. They enjoy. I have lived in Germany, I have lived in Switzerland, I have lived in UK. Life is very comfortable, extremely comfortable. So comfortable that your life becomes hellish. In India, for anything you have to struggle. Suppose in front of your house there is some kuda, how the kuda has to be thrown. You have to call to the municipal people 10 times. If you call, maybe he will come and lift it. Otherwise, he may not. But in West, it is not like that. Life is very, very comfortable. Extremely comfortable. So comfortable that people finally take to wine, women, and all kind of nonsense activities. But then I have seen, I've gone to Seattle where Raghav engaged me in some Krishna Katha in the Seattle temple. The local devotees there interacted with me and found that there is a Seattle temple, Harivilas Prabhu is managing it, and all Indians who are there in the Seattle, they have taken up their house around the temple, and their children are highly Krishna conscious, and I like the atmosphere, very nice. But that is an exception. Normally what happens in these places, life is so comfortable. So if you give people Krishna consciousness, if they are ready to take Krishna consciousness, they can practice very easily. In India, if you give Krishna consciousness to people, but life is such a struggle. They don't take it seriously. So there are contrasting things, but most likely people go to hell in those places. Next. So there, somewhere I heard that whoever goes to Brahmaloka will not come down, will practice along with Brahma and go back to Godhead along with Lord Brahma. Yes, provided he is follower of Lord Brahma. He follows the authority of Lord Brahma. Otherwise not. It doesn't mean that if you go to Brahma's Loka, Brahma Loka, you will follow Brahma. Not necessarily. Just like suppose you are an Indian, it is not necessarily you will follow Indian constitution. Not necessarily. Although you are bound, but you may not. So, yeah, next. I think we are done, right? Any question?
No.
No question? Okay. Thank you very much. I thank everyone. Vancha kalpatarivasya kripa sindhuvaivacha patitanang pavanebhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namah. Ananta koti Vaishnava vrinda ki jai. Two questions. Chiranjit Rai, sir, does Yadu become Avaduta? No. Yadu searched for Krishna, and while searching for Krishna, he met a Avaduta. Avaduta means a person who doesn't declare to the world that he is a sadhu. Okay? Only very rare people can recognize. Like, for example, I preach Bhagavad Gita, knowing, I make arrangement to preach Bhagavad Gita. So I am not an Avaduta. Avaduta is a person who doesn't reveal himself. He hides himself. Jivnes, we talk about 4 varnas, in which category we can put sportsman, musician, actors, doctors, Sudra category. Taruna, one relative of mine is constantly put under mental and physical stress by her in-laws, etc., because of evils in our society, treating men as superior. She is reading Bhagavatam and chanting, but not able to get rid of this. How to console or counsel? Could you please guide? Yes, please put her in touch with me. I will have some session with her. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, sir. Sir, I asked this question. Everyone of us at one point of time we became Brahma, and but like Brahma, most of the time Brahma goes back to Godhead after his lifetime. Like it is little contradictory. Right?
Not necessarily all Brahmas are pure devotees. Not necessarily all Brahmas are pure devotees. Okay? And it is not, I know that, a jiva, some of the jivas have become Brahma, but I don't know whether all jivas have become Brahma. I don't know. Okay. Thank you. Hare Krishna. किसका
हॉस्पिटल के रिसेप्शन से फोन आया।
ये तो ऐसे